So a quadratic function can come in three forms: standard form, intercept form, and vertex form. So if it comes in intercept form or vertex form, we can write it and put it into standard form. Sometimes that might be helpful. We might need to do that. So there's two ways really that you could put something into standard form. You could use FOIL or you could use a generic rectangle. Most of you will use a generic rectangle, so that's just the method I'll choose to do my example. So if you're writing negative x minus 2 times x minus 7 in standard form, this negative in the front, you don't want to ignore that. It's like a negative 1. So that negative 1, we're just going to distribute that in there. And this will then become negative x plus 2 times x minus 7. Once you distribute that number in the front to that first set of parentheses, it's gone. You can't multiply it again and say, oh, well, I want to use it again. You don't get to do that. You've already used it. So you only multiplied into that first set. So once you get to this step, this is where most of you would do your generic rectangle and say, okay, what is negative x times positive 2 or negative x plus 2 times x minus 7? So x times x, negative x squared, negative times a negative positive 7x, x times 2, 2x, 2 times negative 7, negative 14. So just combine those like terms. So 2 plus 7 will be 9. So this equation in standard form is negative x squared plus 9x minus 14. It's in standard form when you have an x squared, an x, and a constant without any parentheses. So when it's in vertex form, similar to number 8, what I don't want you guys to do is distribute that squared inside of there. X plus 1 squared expanded would just be really 2x plus 1s. So when you rewrite that part out into x plus 1 times x plus 1, then it looks like what we just did. So we'll distribute the 2 into just that first set of parentheses and make that 2x plus 2 times x plus 1 minus 3. And then this is where you guys would probably then either FOIL, distribute, whatever you want to call it, or use your generic rectangle. 2x times, or 2x plus 2 times x plus 1. So 2x times x, 2x squared, 2x times 1, 2x, 2 times x, 2x, 2 times 1, 2. So again, adding those like terms. So this part here would be 2x squared plus 4x plus 2. So the only part I don't want you guys to forget is don't forget to bring down if there's a number being added at the end. You'll just combine that to that 2. So this ends up being 2x squared plus 4x minus 1. And f of x is really just another way of saying y. Remember, it's just function notation. So don't forget to add that number to the end if there's something being added or subtracted on the end there. And just remember that when you're squaring something, you don't distribute that square in there. You really write it out as 2 of them being multiplied together. But go ahead and try the other 2.